What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Take Flight Garage, and check it out. The 944 won something. How cool is that? So I entered it into one of the PCA Concours events this past weekend, and I had such a good time that it prompted me to do another video in the Getting to Know Your 944 series. And it's something that I want to talk about that I don't think I've seen anybody on YouTube talk about. And that's just the sense of community and just the camaraderie that comes with buying a Porsche. So before I talk about the event itself, let me talk about that first, because that's really like the main point that I want to get across in this video. How cool it is, you know, just some of the relationships that have been established through being a Porsche freak. Whether it was going through avenues of trying to buy one, or owning my other one and needing help getting it fixed, and reaching out to different businesses and meeting local business owners. You know, that's turned into one of my most like awesome and fruitful relationships, because everyone is so willing to help each other out. So, and that's just something that, like I said, I don't really think I've heard anybody really talk about. It's the cars are one thing, but just the people that you meet. And it doesn't matter if you're at one of these events that you know, if you're registered with a PCA, or, you know, you're at a gas station and someone comes up to you and says, hey, my dad had one of those, or I learned to drive stick in one of those, or, you know, my friend had one, or my aunt had one, or my brother, or my sister. Doesn't matter. Of all flavors, whether it's 911s, Boxsters, like it just all over the place. And that kind of segues me into the next topic, which is don't be self-conscious about your car, you know? If you think, oh, well, you know, I don't have any business, you know, no one's going to care about, let's say a 944, a cheap 944 that's rusted out, has no engine in it, and, you know, it's got dings, awful paint job, curb rash rims. It's, you know, doesn't matter. If that's your first car, or if it's your, you know, your first Porsche and you're getting into it and you're learning it, you're trying to get the car running. And even if you're doing some crazy build, even if you're doing an LS swap or an electric motor swap or an Audi 5-cylinder swap, who cares? As long as the car is being appreciated and there's life being, you know, breathed into it, that's all that I think anybody really cares about. And we can all sort of appreciate, in any sense, you know, those sort of goals and aspirations. Because just because something isn't to one particular person's taste doesn't mean that, you know, the entire community frowns upon it. It's cool, honestly. I mean, the best argument that I have against that is look at the 911, right? You have, or even the 356. You think, oh my God, someone cut up a 356 and chopped the roof and put a weird engine in it, or bored it out and put a matte paint job on it. They ruined the car. But there's an entire community out there that looks at that and goes, that's awesome. Personally, I think they're great builds, and everybody in the Porsche community will appreciate a totally badass outlaw 356, or with the 911, right? 993s. You think, oh, those cars are crazy in value. You know, if someone cuts it up and puts fender flares on it and puts a fat wing and 2 turbos, bigger turbos, they're ruining the car. That's not the case at all. You know, everyone that I talk to in the community all appreciates that stuff, whether it's RWB or Rawelt or you know, any of those just kind of custom, you know, modder versions of those cars. It doesn't matter. So if that's kind of what's, you know, holding you back from looking into the PCA or joining it, I say don't let it. And I think this is kind of proof, you know? So with that being said, now what I'm going to try and do is, as I'm talking about the event, I'll try and overlay some photos and some video that I took while I was there. I didn't get much myself just because I was a little bit busy and I was talking to so many people. It was a really great time. But I'll post what I can and what I have. And hopefully you guys can just kind of kick back and enjoy it, check it out, and, you know, make your own opinions. So To start with the event, everyone just kind of parked their cars up on the grass. Different cars were entered in different divisions, so it wasn't just like all cars were competing against each other. There were display, there was like vintage street modern, vintage street like unrestored, crazy. And you could pick whatever you wanted to enter your car in, and that would sort of also determine how thoroughly your car was judged. So my car was in display. Um, Same deal, all these friends that I've been making over the past few years of owning, now coming up on 6 years of Porsche ownership in general. Some of the guys were there. Some of the guys from 4 Till 4 who meet out in Scottsdale showed up. Big shout out to Nathan and Eric with their 914. I love that car. And those are, you guys are just awesome dudes. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Another guy, Chris, who had been following the 944 since it was under Mike's ownership. He was there, so it was great to meet him. And we had some great conversations about our cars. He just got into Boxster, so that's really cool. And it's just kind of like that, the whole way through, the whole day. It's like meeting up with a bunch of friends and just sharing the experiences of your cars. And I don't really know of any other brands where it's just like that with Porsche, where everyone is interested in each other's cars, and it's not necessarily about how fast it is or what kind of mods you have done to it, or how loud is your exhaust. It's just like, oh, this is your car, this is your story behind that car, this is awesome. There's just kind of that distinct appreciation, and I think it stems from all of us wanting to own one of these cars since we were kids. So that's why I harken back on that point to where if, let's say you got like a rusted out 44 and you think that, you have no business showing up to a driver event or anything like that, you shouldn't have those stipulations at all. Come hang out, be a part of the community, and you will be rewarded, I promise. So, but anyways, back on track with the event. So, after the event, there was a cool dinner where they announced all the winners from each division in the show and best overall, and just the diversity of cars that was there and the diversity of people was so cool. I met people that day from all different walks of life, all different ages. Men, women, a lot of girls won at that show. Their cars were just awesome and fantastic. It was so cool. And yeah, so that was the event. Now let's talk about the PCA specifically, why I think you should join and how my experience has been. So let's say I've convinced you. You're like, okay, this seems cool. What do I got to do? You can go to the PCA's website, create an account, buy a membership. I think the membership is something like $50 a year. And here's kind of I'll break down some of the events per se. So if you want to come and do stuff like this, they do concours, they do driving tours, they do, dinners and club meetings and all that kind of stuff where they'll do presentations on cars, all kinds of cool stuff. If you're into that sort of thing, that's awesome. There's probably a bunch of people going, oh, no way. Like, I don't want to sit through any of that. And the good news for you guys is, well, they also do track events. They host track events. So if you got a track car or you want to learn how to race, PCA is a great way to do that. You can take your car, and they do DE events, they do autocross, they do almost everything under the sun that you can think of. So there's kind of something for everybody, And like I said, just the one thing that I haven't really heard anybody talk about is just all the relationships and all the friendships that you're going to make. And it's such a cool thing to be a part of. So, yeah, I guess to recap, guys, it's such a great community. And I also wanted to thank everybody for all the kind messages that everyone sent to me after that horrible accident, because that was it was honestly motivating, and it motivated me to kind of keep doing YouTube, and especially after having the opportunity to get this car, it motivated me to just keep posting videos about whatever I do to it, you know. So even if it's just me hanging out, talking in a garage, I want someone who is like completely outside of this bubble to have a window in and be like, if you can make it happen, there's any way to make it happen. Even if you get a cheap $1,000 car missing an engine and you want to do some crazy build, go for it. Don't let that keep you out of the clubs. Don't let that keep you from going to cool events. You're going to meet so many awesome people, and you're going to establish so many great relationships moving forward. And, if you're a younger dude, so what? Come hang out, because the more the merrier. So with that, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I at least convinced you to give it a look, to check it out. And if you're local and you see this car out somewhere, come say hi. I'm always, excited to talk to people. So again, special shout out to guys like Mike, Rich, Nathan, Eric, Chris. It was such a pleasure. And I'm excited for the next one. And I'll hope to take you guys along for that ride too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.